Caution is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and today I'm doing my top 10 games of 2018. Yay! Games! Games of the year! Originally I was going to do this with Brad, but, as I do most of my lists, but, lost the footage. So, that's that. This is what happens. Luckily I still have the list. So basically I'm just doing it again. And 2018 was a phenomenal year for board games. Like, I don't know, I've been seeing things, people are like, this year wasn't that good. It's just like, what do you mean? Like, we played a bunch of games. Like, I had like 25 games that could have been on this list. And most of them were Kickstarter. So I actually have 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, I have 8. 8 of my games came off of Kickstarter, and I mean that's just outrageous. Like, Kickstarter has become such a
it's the new platform.
Yeah, I mean it really is. Like, you don't have to. You can go through. I'm assuming logistics of an actual company. I mean, you become your own company. But yeah, it's insane. So, as per usual, Kat doesn't have her own list of games, but she will be here just for commentary, and so I don't have to do this alone. But my honorable mention is a game called Guardians, and Guardians is a 1v1 kind of area control fighting for certain cards with your team. It can be played with 4 people, but it can't. So what it is you have your team of special people that each and a deck of cards, and the deck consists of certain cards from each of these people shuffled into one, and then off to the side you have an ultimate card, an ultimate ability that has that is for each of these people, and you are just at these locations vying for control, trying to kill the opposing team so that you can take control over these cards and score them. What makes this game really, really cool is the fact that each character feels unique. It reminds me a whole hell of a lot of Overwatch, and I believe I talked to the designer at Gen Con and I was like, do you play Overwatch? And he was like, yes. And I'm like, that reminds me kind of that. And I think that's what he was going for. And I do think he succeeded. The reason why it's an honorable mention is just because other games happen to be better. I know that a hero pack is already coming out, I think with 4 heroes. But each of these are drastically different, and you can shuffle these heroes up and just be like, okay, here's your 3, here's my 3, let's see. Or you can be like, oh, I want to see what these 3 are against those 3. And it's just, everyone feels awesome, everyone feels epic, just doing these awesome combinations and just being a badass. So, Guardians is my honorable mention. Now, babe, I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of these you have played.
Forced me to.
Yeah, yep, that's what you get. I didn't force you, I asked you to play.
But if I say no, you hit me with a stick until I cry.
Like
that's the honest truth.
With like the switch.
It's a willow branch, so it's a like right across my face.
Get in the fucking game room. Get in there! Get in there!
I'm like hobbling in. Like.
That's why she always has the blanket. It's covering up the switch marks. Get in there. We're gonna play my number 10, Rise of Tribes. Haha. So Rise of Tribes. First time we played it was as a 2-player game. Then we played it as a 3-player game, and it will soon be going on the channel if it's not already up by the time this goes up. Depends on how well I do. Rise of Tribes is such a neat, game about like an ancient civilization. Like, you play as an ancient tribe. Like, literally you just have your meeples that you place on terrain, gathering resources to build villages to score points. Now that sounds pretty simple, but I just think it works so well.
Yeah.
The main mechanic of this is your 4 actions are dice driven, and it's everyone has access to these actions. So you have 3 dice on each one of these actions: the move, gather, explore, and something else. I can't train maybe, but
for Rise of Tribes.
yeah, the 4 actions that you got. You have move, gather, something about where you get more workers onto the board,
Yeah.
and then you have the one where you draw invention cards.
Yeah, I was trying to think of what they're called. Like,
Yeah. But anyway, you have 2 dice that you roll, and on these dice there's, I believe, 2 suns, 2 moons, and 2 blanks. And then you take one of those dice and you put it onto, like, right next, and you basically push the 3 off of these actions, and then you do like a powerful move. So, for example, if there's 2 suns showing on those 3 dice now, your move is 6 people. Okay. If there happens to be 2 moons, then your move is three people. And then if it's if there's no doubles, then you get like in between the 2. So that's just really interesting because you can do these super powerful moves, or not at all, because the way there's events in this game as well that if you roll doubles, then an event goes off, but it only goes off if there's room for an event to go off. And these events, I think, are really nice. Some of them are super helpful. It's like, hey, mild winter. When you do the gather action, you gain more resources. It's like, sweet. Or canoe, which allows you to move through lake spots. Yeah, lake spots for free. So that gives the game its variety. So I really like that. Then you have your own workers where you're going through these objectives that'll give you a bunch of points, or you're getting these inventions that will help you do other actions. I just think it is a very slick game. I like the fact that there is a advanced mode which adds special terrain tiles. It adds unique tribe powers. Everyone's tribe has a unique power, or they have one of 2 that make you play completely different. They have tribe elders that you can play as, but it's just modules that you can do, and I really, really like that. One of my favorite things too is, and I think that I think you like this a lot, is that it's first 1 to 20 points.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no end game. There's no, alright, I got to 20, now let's start the end game.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh yeah, you got to 20, great. Yeah, I actually got 60 end game points, so
Yeah.
I really win.
And
Nope.
you still only got 20.
Yeah, and you still only got 20. You suck. No, it's first 1 to 20, wins. That's it. So I think that Rise of Tribes is a phenomenal game. What did you think of Rise of Tribes?
I liked it. Yep.
Alright.
I didn't make a list, so.
Well, great. My number 9 is a game by Level 99 Games that I have heard no one talk about, but I backed it on Kickstarter. Rise of Tribes may also have been on Kickstarter, but I didn't back it. If it was, I don't know. But number 9 is Temporal Odyssey. Temporal Odyssey is another 1v1 game that I started playing around when I got back into Magic. And so I was really into that, head for, decks, deck building, kind of fighting one another. But this game is about dueling time travelers, which is such an awesome idea that the way that the game is laid out is you start with a very specific, certain number of cards, and you have your time traveler and your base. And then whenever you play creatures or summon creatures or allies, you put them one in front and then one behind. And the only one that can attack, unless special abilities obviously, is the one in front. So you can have these people protect your time traveler. But if your time traveler ever dies, that's not the end of the game. He comes back fully healed, but you get a... Oh man, what was it called?
I don't remember.
I literally said it whenever... instability card. You get an instability card, which gives you a symbol, an elemental symbol, which helps power up your spells, but it also gives you a temporary, or it helps give you a one-time bonus that you can flip to use it. And the first one to get 3 of those, thematically, gets wiped away from existence by the Lord of Time. I just think that's really cool. You get 3 chances to try and knock each other out, and you get bonuses as you keep messing with time. As you play, there's 3 different decks, past, present, future, which just has these different types of creatures and spells that you can summon based off the different time periods that you meddle with. I just think it's a very neat, unique 1v1 game, and so that's my number 9, Temporal Odyssey. You've played that, but you only played it as a 4-player game.
I was about to ask. I was like, is this the one I haven't played?
No. We played it. You played it once. I played it multiple times since then. But we played it as a 4-player game, and you kind of team up.
Who did we play with?
Josh and Sheridan. You share
Oh,
like your
okay.
instability cards. It's a 1-player game.
I vaguely
Yeah.
remember now.
It's a 2-player game.
Yeah, because I think didn't we like sweep them?
Yeah, we completely
Yeah.
demolished them. Because we kick ass. Yeah. And woo. Number 8 is a game that Kat and I actually just played called Chronicles of Crime.
God damn it!
What?
It's every time Chronicles of Narnia. Every
It's
time.
Chronicles of Narnia, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe,
You
the
play
board
as
game.
Aslan.
You play as Aslan, and you are basically Jesus, and your whole goal is to try and kill the Wicked Witch of the West by traveling down the Yellow Brick Road. It's like I
She's
just
clearly the Wicked Witch of the North Pole.
No, Chronicles of Crime is a detective game that came in when there's a bunch of these out there, like Witness, the Sherlock Holmes games. There's another one, Deadline. I think Deadline's one of them. But this one basically makes it modern by having an app-driven deduction game or detective game. Every single card that you have, you cannot play this game without an app. Every single character that you can talk to is scannable by a QR code, and you actually have conversations with them. You basically enter in a conversation, then you start scanning the clues that you found, and then they will respond based off that. So if you meet a guy in a park, and then you scan, the shovel. Well, the thing that like every card clue is like vague, because it's gonna be used in the later scenario. So it's like melee weapon. It's like, okay, it's not like specific to like a knife or something, but you can scan that, and then he will talk about it. He could be like, oh yeah, I saw the woman who was murdered wield that, and it's like, oh my god. So you actually have these conversations with these people. The thing about this is that each location you can go to, you can scan and search for clues, and you actually can have a VR thing, and you can look around. It's amazing. The app is super well done, and I just think that's awesome. Like, you get to actually look at the scene of the crime. You don't have to just imagine that,
Yeah.
oh, I wonder what this looks like. And while you're looking, you have 40 seconds to try and name what you see, and the other person is looking through the item deck. It's like, oh, you see a shovel? Oh, okay, that could be a gardening tool.
Yeah, that was the hard part because I was expecting like to see a card with like shovel
That-
on it,
yeah,
and I wasn't. I was
I-
like, nah.
I actually forgot that it wasn't specific to that. It was just stuff.
Yeah, which means you can grab a lot more stuff than you actually are
Yeah,
supposed to.
yeah,
so.
and then afterwards you scan those, and it's like, yep, this is what you found, and it tells you what it's supposed to be, and then, or if it's not handy.
Tells you it's not.
Yeah, this one is just super thematic. We did the one of the first scenarios, and it was on easy, and we blew it out of the water with 105 to 100, which is the best score we'll ever get in any of these games. Unless we do a Sherlock Holmes thing and figure it out in one lead.
We can do it.
Gotcha!
'Twas the butler.
But even though it was easy and we blew it, like, it was still satisfying. Like, I never once was like, really?
This is.
Yeah, like, we didn't talk to the guy, and it's like, okay, well, the boyfriend did it. That wasn't the case.
Yeah.
Which is just, it's so awesome. Lucky Duck Games just blew it out of the water with that. I can't wait for the noir scenarios to be available. I just think they're going to do a great job. And they can easily just keep making expansions for this. Like, you have an app. Like, those small ones, like the other ones that aren't ready yet, they can be like $20. If that, not even that, because, well, probably it helps support the app. But Chronicles of Crime is fantastic.
Agreed.
My number 7 is Dark Souls, the card game.
That's the one I haven't played.
That's the one you haven't played. And Dark Souls, the card game, basically took what was good about the board game, which was very, very little, and incorporated into the card game. And the problem with the board game was it was just too tedious, too long to set up. And what was really great about it were the boss fights. And that basically take that, streamline the process, make it a quick deck building game. Like, you're just constantly, you're fighting, you're playing your cards really quick. You're easily deck building. Like, okay, I'm gonna use these souls to buy these power up cards, and I'm gonna take these smaller ones out, and I'm gonna put these items that I found in. Great, here's my deck, because your deck can only stay the same like number.
Mm-hmm.
Like per bonfire visit, it's like you can have 34 cards, and you're gonna want those extra cards. But it's not like you just have a fat deck of cards that you're never gonna get what you need.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it can be a little themeless because you don't always have your shield available or you don't always have your sword available. But I still found that if you deck build better, like you'll still have these options available. But even then, like you're quickly playing these cards, you're cycling through your deck a lot to fight these enemies, and then the bosses still fight the same way. They have their unique deck of cards that goes in order. Once it runs out, you flip it, and now they have a pattern. It's just, I really like that about the board game, and then if they take enough damage, then they heat up, which means you shuffle them and add certain cards. And then I'm really happy that they decided to support it, so that another expansion just came out, and I hope they release more, because I just want to fight the bosses, and that you pretty much get to do that. It also helps that I'm playing through Dark Souls 1 and on the Switch, and then Dark Souls 3 on my PS4, and then I've beaten Bloodborne like 3 times. So, very excited for the rumored well, actually it's not even rumored, it's confirmed, the Bloodborne board game. Because I don't care if that one sucks like the Dark Souls board game. I love Bloodborne so much. I'll just buy it for the fucking minis. Probably what I should have just done with the Dark Souls game, just kept the minis.
That would be cool.
Huh?
That would be cool.
Yeah. But anyway, very quick, very streamlined game. I very much like it. My number 6 is a game that Kat and Devin colluded on to screw me on, called Everdell. Everdell is a very, I want to say, it's not lighthearted in really any way except the theme.
It's cute.
It's, yeah, the art is phenomenal. The 3D tree is you know, amazing, and just production quality all around is fantastic for this game.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a tableau building game, and I love tableau building games, like where you get to look at the end of the game what you've built. And in Everdell, it's a worker placement as well, so you're working around the forest, gathering resources to be able to play these cards, and you're limited on how many cards you can play until you get like the legendary cards out. But what's really cool about this is you can have combos with cards. It's like, okay, I have the farm out. The farm allows me to actually play the mom and pop for free. And if I have both of them out, then they actually give me a bunch of points at the end of the game. And then like, oh well, these are common abilities, like, or these are common locations that will just give me the resources, or give me something once until another season, which I believe is summer. At the end of summer, they restock and you get to use them again. Mm-hmm. I love the buildings that you can have, because that's now more worker placement spots that only you can go to, as well as the theme around it. It's a very, not brain-burning, but it's a decently heavy game. Like, the theme and stuff, you would think it to be, oh look, it's my little woodland creatures. But no, I mean, yeah, they're there and it's adorable, but like, there's some thought into this. And I think what kicked our ass whenever we first played it was how quickly your turns can go by if you're not efficient. Like, we saw our friend Devin, like, because you decide how quickly you advance through the seasons by passing. So if you're not efficient on your turns, then it's like, okay, well, I'm done, and I'm ahead of everyone. People will be in August before you're in summer.
Yeah.
Which I think is very unique. So you're trying, by the time I got into summer one game, I was doing like 10 things a turn, trying to make it as efficient as possible. And I like when players dictate the speed of their turns. Like, it gives you more control, it makes me feel better, and I'm not like, oh man, I'm not stressed out as much. It's such a solid game, and I'm excited for the expansion, which adds, like, I think it adds another sideboard, like an actual river or a lake that has, you know, aquatic creatures that you can enlist, and there's something else about it, but I don't really look a whole lot into Kickstarters. I just, okay, well, I like this, yes, then I'll back it, and then I'm like, it'll get here when it gets here.
Yeah.
That's probably why I get burned on all the Kickstarters.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man. So that is my number 6, Everdell. My number 5 is a game that I struggled to put on here only because of another game on this list that is like it, and my number 5 is Detective, a modern crime board game. So I debated on if I should have put 2 detective games on this list, just because that's kind of lame.
I disagree. I think you're right because they're two separate games made by two different people.
That's
One's
true.
not even an expansion from the other, so I think it's totally valid.
All right. So Detective of Modern Crime board game I like more than Chronicles of Crime, mainly because I feel, and it's weird, I feel it's more thematic, and it is more. I feel like more of a detective than I did in Chronicles of Crime. They did such a good job on the writing in Detective that it felt like it was actually me. And the big thing, and they both utilize technology in both their games, but Detective a Modern Crime board game actually made a website that utilizes the scenarios that you're doing, and it does a phenomenal job. Like this website is amazing. Like half the time you're kind of doing the detective work of going out into the field. Like you actually have a time limit. You have a work day. It's like, hey, you need to finish this scenario by day 5. And you're like, okay, I guess I'll do that. And you have 8 hours each day to do it. And you actually have to feel like you're managing your time. It's like, man, we really need to figure out this case. Hey, you gonna go to that guy's funeral? Not really, because I have work to do. But then we do it anyway, and then we're like, motherfucker. Like that took 3 hours out of our day. And now we're stressed, and we had to go into overtime, work overtime.
And we had to go to a funeral.
Yeah, and we still went to the funeral.
So we're sad.
Yeah, so we're sad that we went.
That's sad that we went, sad that he died.
Oh.
See where your priorities are.
So you actually have this time management aspect in a game, where like the other ones, like Chronicles of Crime had that, but it wasn't as urgent. Like you knew whenever you actually had a deadline. And Chronicles, you just know that time is an aspect.
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes, you're like, okay, we've done 20 leads.
We've lost.
Yeah, there's no way Sherlock did 20 leads. So you just end when you feel like ending, and I never feel like we saw. Yeah, I never felt like we were even close. With Chronicles and Detective, I was like, yeah, I feel pretty good. Even though you don't know the questions at the end anyway, but you're like, yeah, okay, we talked to these people. I think we got a grasp on the
Yeah, we felt confident with Chronicles of Crime.
Mm-hmm.
And with Detective, if I remember correctly, we didn't feel too bad about that either.
Yeah,
we were like, all right,
we're like, okay, I think we got it. But it definitely helps with the website because you find these fingerprints all over town, and then you put those codes into the database, and then you're like, oh, all right. That says whose fingerprints it is, and you can look into your system and be like, oh, okay, it is that person, and you actually have a database. And then you can go to another spot, find these fingerprints, and be like, huh, okay, put these in, and then it tells you if it's a match. Or you find an item that you can take to the forensic lab and look through it, and it'll tell you what code to enter, and it's like, oh, yep, on this gun or these fingerprints, you type it in, it's like, okay, these are these person's guns, so you actually get detective work done.
You get that feel.
Mm-hmm.
I will say whoever did the nitty-gritty detail, like the world building with the immersive, just choice of words and how they chose to really put you in there, and like the website and every single thing that went into it, and the pictures even.
Yep.
They cared a lot about this game.
Yeah, they really did. One of my favorite things that I actually just remembered whenever you said the care is like, it'll mention something, and then like you have access to Google, you have like a real like job, and some of it will like do an underline thing, and it's like, look it up, and we actually found out stuff about like German groups, and then we were like, wait a minute, oh my god, that icon, and we actually learned while playing this game.
Yeah.
Which
I love that because that's so realistic. Like in Sherlock, they didn't have the technological ability to be like, man, I wonder what, like, they didn't have the
oh, look, it's Jack the Ripper's blood. Found him. It's that guy. Yeah, it's amazing. It's so immersive. Like, they just, even stuff that doesn't pertain to the case, you're like, you're sitting in the office waiting for Susan to finish looking at the items, and there's Amy at the reception. She always gives you crap, and it's like, yeah, I feel like I'm actually talking to Amy.
Yeah.
and then you can go back, and it's like, Amy, oh, wow, you're back again? It's like, yeah, I'm back again. It just does so many things right.
Is your daughter's ballet recital tonight? And you're here?
Wait, what? So Detective: A Modern Crime board game is just phenomenal. They are making expansions. One's, I think, also a noir expansion. So it's going to be weird how they do that because of their website. Like 1950s, they didn't have a website, so I'm wondering how they're going to do it. But maybe they'll still utilize it. I don't know.
It comes with a little paper boy.
You buy it, it's an actual
He yells
paper
out
book.
the New York Times. Extra.
It's like, yeah, dude, get out of my house.
So, no, they'll kill me!
So, my number 4 is a game that I don't know if you hate it, I don't know, but I know you don't like it, and that is Feudum. Feudum is my number 4, and I don't even know where to begin with Feudum. Just skip it.
Yeah.
Feudum is, oh man, such an intuitive and unique game. Like, its writing and theme are so drastically different from gameplay that I don't, like, I'm not surprised that people don't like this game. Because they think it's going to be the whimsy, oh, blimey, the monster's hopping over the hill again, he's going to come eat us, what'll we ever do? And then you're like, I don't know, do we fight the monster? And then it's like, okay, here's this intricate, like gear system that you have to utilize your resources really well. It's just like, they added so many little things and called them throughout the entire rulebook what they are. It wasn't white cubes, it was saltpeter. Mm-hmm. It wasn't, like, you weren't just a guy there, you were a serf, and you were a lord, and stuff like that. And, there's so many nuances that make the game, the game feel, I don't know how to describe it. Real? I don't know, because the game is so intricate. You have your 10 cards, and you're basically picking which actions that you want to take based off these cards, and they both have, one has the main ability that you'll do, but it also has a secondary ability based off whatever. Like, your, one of your putting pawns on the board. If you have, I think, an alchemist, and each of these actions actually have a title. Like, one's long lost relative. It's like, if you have this type of pawn already out on the board, then you can go anywhere instead of just the starting spaces. And just stuff like that. Like, it's very, very immersive on top of just the actual solid mechanics of this game. I have every expansion for it, but I haven't had a chance to play with them, but I've played this game quite a bit. The one downside, for me anyway, is, and for everyone else, is this game takes a long fucking time to teach.
Yeah.
Like, probably, I can teach Twilight Imperium 4 in less time than I can teach Feudum. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how, because not only do people have to come to grasp with the terminology of what everything is, I also have to teach you, okay, here are your 10 cards. Everyone has the same amount of cards, like the same cards, and it's just what actions you're going to take. So it's like, I need to teach you all of these, their double abilities, how they work together. Okay, great. You got the cards? No? Well, we're going to move on. Now I need to teach you how these 6 guilds interact with each other. And I also have to teach you how you become the leader of this guild, and then the second person, and how you can utilize, you can only do the push mechanic, and the second person can only do the pull mechanic. And they all integrate, together. The farmer gets her, how many resources she can hold based off blessings from the priest, and then she pushes her and sells her goods to the alchemist that you can buy goods from, and then the merchant, and the alchemist gets his stuff from the merchant. Everything just makes thematic and mechanical sense. It is, how well Mark Swanson, the designer, came up with this, I would say it's a little much. Just based off everything. Hey, if you want to do 2 actions, you can use, saltpeter or stuff like that. But man, I think, and Brad brought up a good point, is that this game is a game you have to play with the same group. Yes. If you have the same gaming group, Feudum is because you don't have to keep teaching them. Like, I would never bring Feudum out. I would never bring it to a game night. Like, there's no way. Unless people are wanting something new. Like...
Not even if they're wanting something
like, well, I mean, we had to teach new people whenever we were going to do the recording. But, man, they added, you know... the expansions. One of the expansions I just got is the Queen's Army, which is a solo variant that I'm very excited to try. It is such a smart, intelligent game that it had to go at number 4. So, number 4 is Feudum. Number 3 is a game that Kat stole the victory from me by 1 point, and it's called Root. Root is another just forest creature game. And man, did Leader Games just knock this one out of the park. Basically, put it this way, I played Vast once, hated it, and Root was such a success, I bought it again because I'm like, okay, Root was so well done, Vast has to be good.
Maybe.
Like,
the second time.
maybe if I know what I'm doing, that will help. But if you don't know, Root is an asymmetrical board game where every player plays a separate faction that plays completely different than the rest of them. In our latest game, I was the cats. They're all about building up these engines by, okay, well, I'm going to place these buildings that'll help me recruit a lot, and then I'm going to use it to gain wood. I need wood to be able to build more buildings. So I'm kind of like the industrial faction. Cat played the Woodland Alliance, which is all about getting a deck of alliance cards to be able to build rebel bases.
Yeah.
And just you go in and you just clear out the whole clearing.
Pretty much.
And and you just get points for that.
Yeah, and if someone wants to attack me as the Woodland Alliance, whoever rolls the highest dice, it's always going to go to me.
The Woodland Alliance, because you always roll 2 dice, and it's like if I roll a 3 and a 0, it's like, great, she gets the 3 even though I'm the one attacking.
Yeah. And it's because who can attack the Woodland
Well, I
Alliance?
think, and then, I mean, even if, you win, we moved through you or something, we had to give you cards to be able to move through you because...
We shook people down.
Yeah, goddamn.
We were mean.
If you were thinking this is going to be a fun romp through the forest, no, this is a intricate war. It's a war game.
The cats will fucking cut you.
They will cut your throat for wood.
The birds will murder you.
Yeah, the birds are these high, we're so prideful, and they're a programming, faction. They have to set their cards in a programming order and do all of them, otherwise they will fall into turmoil. They ramp up really quick if they are unattested, because it's just like...
Cats do too.
I think everyone can. Everyone is so balanced.
Yeah, I feel like the Woodland Alliance, though, kind of flies under the radar until it's too late.
You're telling me? I was saying shit the whole time, but because I'm the cats and I seem like the biggest threat, which I am, at the beginning, I'm like, guys, look, I have my corner here. I just have my stronghold. The rebels are the ones that need to die.
But look at the cat!
But then it's like, everyone's like, no, the cats, and then I'm like, what about the birds? And then the birds, they can fall into turmoil, but they can lose all their points. Then the Vagabond is just little people, and he basically is untouched, but he can screw over, he goes on these quests, gets a bunch of points for that, makes alliances with everyone, then he can backstab them and start killing them for points. The expansion is also fantastic, because it adds... Well, I guess I don't know all of the expansion, but the beavers are basically the merchants, and they're like the backstabby merchants, where it's like, hey, if you want to buy our cards, give us some stuff, and then they can set the prices, and then they use basically other people's workers to benefit them, and they can just screw everyone over but you keep feeding them. You're like, hey, you want to work for me? I need to kill these guys, and then they're like, yes, we can. Bam! Here's our action.
Yeah. And I can't let this go because I know we lost footage from the other video and you didn't catch it. I caught it. Brad made the perfect dad joke, being that he is a dad. He said, "Oh, those damn beavers."
Gotcha.
Woo!
Gotcha. Woo!
I didn't want that to be lost.
I thought you guys were laughing about something, and I'm like, I must have missed it.
It was. I appreciate dad jokes.
Oh man, they're the worst. But also in the expansion are lizards, and Not quite sure how they play, but I know they're like the cultists, the
It's all
radical
Mark
cultists.
Zuckerberg.
Yeah, it's Mark
They
Zuckerberg.
create a social media.
But it also adds a solo variant or a co-op variant where you can fight the mechanical marquee, which are mechanical cats. But there's also a solo variant. You can just another vagabond. You can play with 2 vagabonds. Just a huge variety. They're going on Kickstarter, I think, next year to start another expansion. Man, I just think this game is top notch. I love the dual use of the cards, where it's like, hey, I'm actually use this to build an item, or I'm gonna use it to hey, it's a market, or I'm gonna use it to for whatever other reasons. So Root is phenomenal. Everyone we played it with it just did really well. So my number 2 is another Kickstarter game that actually just went on the channel, called Deep Madness. Deep Madness is a hybrid of Dead Space, Cthulhu, and Alien. Just all those horror kind of genres mixed in together. In all reality, out of all those 3, it reminds me the most of Dead Space, but instead of being in space, you're in an underwater mining facility.
What did we say? It was Dead Space, a little bit of Alien.
Yeah.
A little bit of Cthulhu, a little bit of Strange Things Upside Down going on.
Yeah, mainly because of the devoured tiles.
Exactly because of the devoured tiles, yeah.
But this is a fully cooperative game set, campaign, like an actual story-driven campaign where they just did so much love into this. The art book is phenomenal. The writing, I think, is really good. I think it's immersive. Devin was giving it shit.
Wait, I was gonna say a little bit of it is kind of like cheesy.
It is kind of cheesy, but it's.
They wouldn't be writing
It's world building.
Yeah,
it's
like
not,
they wouldn't be writing it if they didn't care at all.
Like I didn't think otherwise I didn't want it to be like robotic.
Yeah.
There's emotion behind these characters and what's going on. But one of my characters that I played was basically Isaac Clarke. It looked exactly like him. His weapon was pretty much his.
His suit.
His suit. It was super badass.
Yeah.
I have everything for this game. 2 boxes over there. One is just filled with all the miniatures, and then the other one is all the tiles and cards.
Yeah,
but
and I'm very happy with who I had because they didn't even try to hide the fact that they painted Sigourney Weaver. It was Ripley.
It's very much her.
Very much. Do you remember what Ripley's first name was?
Lieutenant. No, I actually do not remember.
I'm trying to remember what my character's actual in-game name was. I don't think it was Weaver.
It was Weaver.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Either way.
Amanda? It was Amanda Weaver, I think is what your character's name was. And you
check.
had your cat John or something.
Yeah.
And he actually had a mini, and he had an ability. But one of these things is it reminds me a little bit of Arkham, the mechanics, because you roll dice and you hit on 5s or 6s, and other abilities can help out. But what I really like is you have a health meter, which is your health. If you go down to 0, you die. You have an oxygen meter, which, because it's an underwater mining facility, some tiles, and depending on the scenario, are flooded, which you can easily go into. But any actions you do in a flooded space knock your oxygen down. And you have a while before you start running out. But then, once you start hitting those low numbers, you have to roll dice. And if every unsuccessful roll you take a damage. And it's like, oh, okay, but we really need to do this, and then you're being attacked, but you're trying to attack, these things underwater. If you imagine yourself in those scenarios, it's fucking terrifying for me, just because these things are abominations that I would be terrified of being in the water with. But then your oxygen can refill once you get out of the water. So you have that. Then you have your sanity, and your sanity does not work the same way as it does in Arkham Horror, where it's just another meter. Where if it goes to 0, you go insane and die. This one is a lot of actions that you do cause sanity. It's I'm gonna do this action. I'm gonna take 2 sanity hits. Great, those are there. Your number is basically your max. But then, if you kill monsters, or if any events, they flip them over to madness tokens. Every time you get 3 total madness tokens, you wipe them and you resolve a madness card, which is just some horrific event.
Yeah.
But so if you kill monsters, they have a madness, like a horror rating. That's how many madness tokens you flip over. So everything is just out there and open. There's no, the randomness of the cards, but it's not like, man, what do I get if I kill this guy? It's just all right there to see. And I just think that's awesome. If you have no sanity to flip, you get to resolve a consciousness. You get a benefit for not having any sanity, or insanity.
Yeah.
Just the streamliningness of the game, how thematic it is, it's just so engrossing, and it's just everything I love in a board game. Another thing I like is the turn order track. All the characters are in a line, they have their own card, then all the monsters are in a line underneath, and that's your linked monster. All that basically means is this person will go, then that monster, then the next person, then that, and you alternate. And over the course of the round, at the end of the round, the first person who went that round is going to go last now, and then the track moves up. But the monsters stay the same. So you can plan so well by sitting here and be like, okay, there's one blind left, and he's going to screw us if we don't kill him. So it's like, okay, you can do this, and we can do our special. Every character has their own special abilities, extensive backstory.
Yes.
Where it's not kind of like a story so far. It's an intro and why you're there. It's not just like, well, I want to know what happened before this. It's all right there. But you can plan and be like, okay, the blind's going to go next, so if we kill him, then he won't go. It's just, God, it's so good. I love it.
It's pretty fun.
I love it. And my number one, can you guess what my number one is?
Wow, I think it's Charterstone. Because of the way I played. I know you loved it.
Yeah, fucking Charterstone. My number one is Rising Sun. Like, I don't think anyone was shocked about that. What did you think it was? No, you knew what it was. Brad thought it was Forbidden Sky.
Yeah, I can't remember what you said to give it away to me. I was like...
I said you did an action that you never do, I think was the...
Something along... Yeah, and then I was like...
So, Rising Sun is just everything great about Bloodborne, goddamn, but Blood Rage, but better. Like, I very much like Rising Sun better than Blood Rage. Not by a lot. Like, Blood Rage is still a fantastic game, but there's a couple things that Rising Sun does really well. It has the same... those monsters that I recruited, they're mine. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that's awesome. I love that. That makes everyone feel different. And vying for control. So it's like, I have this water dragon, great. Then you know what it can do, then you're going to hire monsters to be able to compensate for that. Everyone just feels badass having these massive kaiju fucking fighting each other on the board. I love the fact that every clan has their special ability versus over the game being different. And there's nothing wrong. I love that about Blood Rage too, but I like how this is my clan, this is what I can do. Everyone's ability feels OP. Which I love about special powers. Like, I think everything is balanced. What makes Rising Sun different than Blood Rage, and I don't know if you actually like this about the game or not, but it is very negotiation driven.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I don't like it, it's just that's never been like, oh man, I wish this had more negotiation.
Yeah, that's fair. And that's why a lot of people actually don't like it, because, like, some people are uncomfortable with negotiating, because not everyone's going to be the first one to do it. It can be kind of uncomfortable, but I'm all in it. I'm fucking deep into negotiating. I'll do it in games that don't even require it. Like, any strategy game, I'm like, look, if you do this, then, like, if I can see a way for people to turn a blind eye to what I'm doing and focus on others, even if I'm not even winning, it's like, look, you have an option to do this to this person. I'm not even benefiting from it, but I only am because they won't win. So you hindering them helps me indirectly, but I'm not gonna all of a sudden skyrocket. So I'm all into this negotiation.
I'm usually the first one to say I don't want to ally.
What? You liar! You always, hey, I want to form an alliance.
I've never allied with anyone.
Bullshit. You've won mainly because you ally with everyone, but me. No. But what's really cool is that it's not just that, politicking back and forth. There's actual mechanics in Rising Sun that I love. It's, hey, let's make an alliance. We take our yin yang and put them together, which I think is just awesome.
I think that's pretty cool.
I have everything for Rising Sun as well. But then it's like, okay, you have these tiles, these are the actions. There's going to be 5 actions this whole game. Like, I pick one, then you pick one, then you pick one, then you pick one. But if we're allied, then there's a main benefit that the person who picks it gets to do, but then there's a bottom benefit that both players get to do. And I just think that's awesome because you just have so much leeway. I think the negotiation here is strong. It's not just like, hey, help me. It's, we will both benefit from this. Let's work together. And sometimes if you have a very powerful military presence, it's like, hey, ally with me and I won't fucking destroy you.
Yeah.
There's the shrines up at the top that will give you small benefits, and you can get points from that. The combat is very... I very much like the combat. I also like the combat in Blood Rage. Like... but that kind of bidding mechanic, and how each age you know what places are going to be attacked.
Mm-hmm.
You know in Blood Rage as well. Someone specifically has to pillage and you have to fight them. But it's like, okay, this spot, and this spot are going to be attacked. You guys are in there. You can prep. You can go in there to try and win to get points, or you can bail out because you're like, I'm not going to win. But the fighting is just... if you remember Blood Rage, the combat in Blood Rage was you drafted, the entire round, and you wanted to get a bunch of combat cards and clan cards, and then also quest cards. The Blood Rage combat is you play a card face down, they play a card, and then your strength, whoever has the highest strength wins.
Mm-hmm.
Rising Sun is you have coins, and your coins are used to do these actions. Coins are open knowledge. You can get Ronin tokens, which are open knowledge, but you can bid on either, killing yourself, which you get a point for every person that dies, an Epic Tale, which means if you win at the end of it, you get points, then adding Ronin, or just adding Strength. I really like that, because it's like, how many coins do you have? 5? Okay. I have 8. But are they going to dump all 5 of their coins into this action? Like, it adds more mind games to it.
You have to think about, like, well, how bad do I think they want it?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. And I
do
really
they want
like
it at all?
Yeah,
Like,
like
they're just going to blow me over, which is what I did to everybody who tried to fight me.
I'm like, ha!
I was like, 1 coin on some
because you need these coins as well to purchase cards. So you're like, oh man, how much do I want to win? And then I'm like, put all this money, and if you win that, then you spend the money.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're gonna, and I think there was something, no, you don't spend it, you give it to the loser.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I think that's, it's been, because if you lose in combat, then you're not just hosed, but if you win, you're like, great, I won, but crap, I don't have any money. Then the next battle can come and you're in there and you're like, how many coins do you have? 1? So then you're probably gonna lose, but, the other thing is I very much like feudal Japan over Vikings. Like I love that lore. I love that era. There's nothing wrong with Vikings. I just think feudal Japan's not done a whole lot. So
I think there's just something beautiful about feudal Japan.
Yeah.
Like it's just amazing. I think it's just gorgeous. Like, I love the lore.
Yeah.
I love the artwork that comes from anything. Like whenever I see any like traditional Japanese tattoos, I think they're just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Love the architecture. I love the demons. Like, that's
Yeah.
something that you don't hear about
The
a lot.
Oni.
Like they're so cool looking. But like also on the flip side, like you said, I would pick feudal Japan over Vikings. Like, I still really think that Vikings is also beautiful in its own way. It's very masculine. But yeah, feudal Japan just has
it's just such a cool theme. It also helps that I think at the time we were doing that, we were also playing Legend of the Five Rings.
Oh yeah.
Which is also an awesome RPG to play in, but like that honor system in Rising Sun is just so streamlined. It's just a solid game. I have zero complaints about Rising Sun. Like, it's a perfect game for me.
The betrayal mechanic.
Yeah, the betrayal mechanic is there's tiles you can play to betray them, and that screws them over like super bad. And you did it to Devin, and he was butthurt and salty forever.
I'd be butthurt.
But he was he betrayed everyone. He always betrayed people, and then he was like, playing Rising Sun, I betray someone, ally with someone else, they betray me.
Pikachu.
The Pikachu shocked me. Like, he was always like, why? It's like, why the fuck? You had no reason to betray everyone else. Why would we? And no one ever allied with him, because we're like, why?
The best part is that I had no reason to do it to him either. I was just like, I'm just gonna.
Because he knew if you didn't, he was going to do it to you.
No, I knew that it's just something, at that point I was like, I never do this. And it makes me uncomfortable to do it, so sometimes you gotta step out of your fucking comfort zone.
It
And
was
ruin someone's night!
it was awesome. It was fantastic. So Rising Sun is the best game of 2018. No shocker there, but those were my 10 games, 11 games, technically with honorable mention. Let me know what your games of 2018 are in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this, and if you like this video, then click the subscribe button below to enjoy any video that I put out. And right next to that subscribe button is a little bell. Click that so you get notified of whenever I actually upload these videos. If you want to support the channel, you can definitely visit my Patreon page. The link is in the description below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.